Yeah, great. Okay. So with that, we'll open the meeting. My name is Liz Argo, and I am the former executive director at Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative. I'm now a Town of Yarmouth Select Board member. And I've been running these meetings since we started them back in 2017. So we're coming up on 10 years. Wow. And it's a great opportunity for you all to share what you're doing and your accomplishments and ask each other questions and get to know each other. We used to do it in person, and I think the highlight was the pizza. But people don't like to travel as much anymore, which is probably good considering our mission. So we meet this way, and we get good turnout, which is wonderful. So right now we have 21 people on. So we are recording this meeting in lieu of minutes, and we will post the recording on the ECCCI website. And the ECCCI website is literally, when you want to find it, you type in ECCCI, which is ECCCI dot website. And the minutes are there, as are many town reports and anything that's brand new to us. For instance, the last entry that I made on that website was about the climate leader and what the requirements would be for a town to become a climate leader. So if you have requests for things to go up, and I think there'll probably be some items that will come out of this meeting that we will post on the website. We're going to ask the invited speakers, which are Margaret Song from the Cape Light Compact and Katie Atchison from the Climate Change Collaborative, and Michelle White from the Cape Cod Commission, and finally Christine Boucher, who was a former Yarmouth energy manager, to keep their updates and statements brief, because what we really want is to have Q&A at the end so that y'all can really just be a part of this, because this is all for you. Use the chat and the hand raise features. Hopefully you're familiar enough with them. The hand raise is under React at the very bottom of your screen, and that way we can see who's asking a question and get your question in front of us. We will ask for any updates from any town committees if you have one at the end after we've heard from Christine. And then we will set the fall meeting. So that's the agenda. And with that, we're going to open it up to hear from the new executive director of the Cape Light Compact, Margaret Song. So take it away, Margaret.
Thanks, Liz. I appreciate it. And I do just want to warn you that we lost power here. So I'm on my hotspot. So at some point I may end up turning off my camera to save battery and or moving to my phone. So just want to warn you, that's what happens. Accidents happen, and
Okay.
luckily technology you can pivot. So, but I did just want to warn you guys.
All right. Well,
My name is Margaret Song. As Liz said, I am the Chief Administrative Officer for the Cape Light Compact. I took over for Maggie Downey, who retired on April 17th. Many of you, I think, worked with her very directly. And then those folks from the board, including Colin and Tom, are we're part of a search committee, and I am very honored that they chose me to take up the reins. I will just also note that we've done a little bit of reorganization at the compact as well. So you'll see on our About Us on the staff page that Brianna has become a deputy, that some of the others have moved up in the organization. So if you start to see some of those changes, that's why we're filling in to support. There's a couple of quick things that I did just want to make sure that folks are aware of, and I know folks like Steve Burke are. So with Mass Save, which Mass Save is the umbrella for the energy efficiency programs for the Cape or for Massachusetts, it includes a lot of the utilities plus Cape Light Compact. As you folks know, there was a bill, the House version of the bill that was filed. It had proposed cuts of $1 billion. The Senate side is looks like they're going to be taking that up. Many of you have been on the advocacy of trying to save that. But Senator Cream recently held a hearing, and if you need it, I can send you the link. But the folks there were definitely speaking to the value of Mass Save. So just wanted you folks to be aware of that. The only other thing that I did just want to mention is that the Energy Saver Home Loan, which, as a reminder, is the loan through the Climate Bank. That was an award that we got through a grant that does provide for things that we cannot do as part of our energy efficiency programs. So solar, EV charging, tree trimming, some of these things. That is unlocked for you when you have a 20% savings. And it's a low interest loan. It's a, you know, you qualify based upon your household income, etc. But I thought this would be a good group to remind that that is still open. Many of you are talking to other folks, encouraging folks to save, and this is a way to be able to help finance some of those larger cost items. So just wanted to remind you all of that. If I don't know you personally, I look forward to working with you all, but I see also a lot of really familiar faces. So hello and good evening.
Oh, I'm trying to avoid the dog barking, and so thanks, Margaret. That's great. And boy, that talk about brief. So we can put that on the website, frankly, the link so that people can be more up to date and keep track and send letters regarding the legislation. That would be great. So if you can get that to me, I'll make sure it goes up on the ECCCI website. All right. Next on our agenda, I don't see any hands up, but we will take question and answer while we have people from, for instance, the Cape Light Compact. Does anybody have any questions they'd like to pose to Margaret at this time? You can just, in fact, this will work just fine too. Okay, I don't see any. So the questions at the very end will be fine as well. Katie, are you ready here? Where's Katie?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi. Thank you. I am Katie Atchison, Executive Director of the Cape Cod Climate Change Collaborative. Um, I would like to welcome Margaret Song as a new board member for the Climate Collaborative, taking Maggie's seat. So we're continuing our close relationship with Cape Light Compact, which I'm very grateful for. We recently partnered with the other organization that I run, the Cape Cod Blue Economy Foundation, for a 2-day conference at the end of April. The Big Blue Green Tomorrow. It had many titles, connecting the dots. We were all over the place. It was in Falmouth at Falmouth High School, and we spent an entire day speaking to local climate action. We had Farming Falmouth. We had students speaking about their community gardens at their schools, and Jenny Wheeler from Family Table Collaborative was our MC for the day. So thank you for anyone that was there. It was a lot of fun. We'll be posting some videos throughout the summer to kind of promote some of those talks. As we move forward, we're coming up to the end of our fiscal year. So there's a lot of end of year reporting, working on sort of an activity report to share out, and some looking forward, doing a lot of planning with the board over the next couple of months. There are 3 major issues that we will be focused on. One is insurance and insurability of private property, which I'm sure any of you that have news feeds with algorithms in them have been seeing news about insurance and insurability. The second is grid resilience. So we're working with the Cape Technology Council and Eversource on that, as well as with Cape Light Compact will be a big player in that. And the third is working alongside the commission and the climate action plans that the commission are working on municipality by municipality to create a accountability system. Right now, we're referring to it as municipal report cards, but it'll be, as much a follow-up and accountability process, a rubric for how the climate action plans are being actually put into action. So those are the 3 pieces that we're working on right now. I'm really just getting started. I have spent the last 6 months learning a lot about the insurance industry. So that's really bottom line honesty, is it takes a lot to wrap your head around that. Any of you that have looked at your insurance bill lately can probably empathize with the math headache that comes along with some of that. So we're working on some big stuff and we're at the forefront of it. So expect to hear more in depth at the next meeting that we have in November for sure.
Great, great. Any questions for Katie at this time? Will there be
Any,
a net zero and what will it be called this year?
So we are working right now. We're going to be inviting conversations with Climate Beacon. And so it's a Boston-based conference on climate change, and the organizers of that are interested in doing something on the Cape. So depending on the timing for that, we may move net zero to the spring. Or early summer where it had been originally. So as of today, I don't have a definite answer as to when the next net zero will be. It's not scrapped by any means. The last one was a little different. I'd like a little more time than I had to plan it the next time around. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks and months of planning whether we decide to do a late fall or something collaboratively and spring or summer. So
Gotcha.
TBD.
Any questions? No, okay. Yes,
I,
Tom.
I actually have a question for Margaret since she didn't get any.
Good.
So there have been some changes to the call center, and I wanted to make sure everyone understands what's available right now for residents in terms of help, for energy assessments or even for, one-on-one counseling.
Tom, you planted a question for me, and I feel like you could probably give a master class in that. But essentially, we have something for everyone, and I think that that's always a great thing. So, the first thing that Tom alluded to was the fact that we've had some changes in terms of our call center. We have, per the DPU, the Department of Public Utilities, which is our regulator, we had to move to a statewide call center. Um, Unfortunately, that means that we had to close our own, but it does also mean that now we have language translation available to us. The hours are later. There's a Saturday day. There's more metrics that are around it. So in some ways, it was very sad to be able to do, but on the other side, I think it unlocks a lot of the other things that are available statewide. And we have not heard anything. It seems as if it's been a seamless process to get folks to where they need to be. But if you all hear anything, please do let me know. In terms of what's available for residences, we have everything, right? So even if you're the most wealthy person on Cape Cod, you're still going to get free air sealing and 75% off of your weatherization. But if you are income qualified and, as you go further down, meaning moderate and then low income, you're going to have even more things that are going to be available to you, right? So increased incentives for barriers, increased incentives for weatherization, increased incentives for heat pumps. But typically, what we do is that's what the call center does. That's their expertise. Same thing with folks like Steve Burke, who are have been working with folks for many, many years, right? So being able to have those conversations, have them in a sensitive manner. Not everybody wants to talk about income, which is fine. People can just say, that's fine. I just want the standard offer. But we're always here to help. And then even over that, we've got things like the Energy Saver home loan that can help you go even further if you want to go beyond our program. So I don't know, Tom, if I did you any justice, but I feel like you probably could have done that better than me. But I appreciate the tee up.
That was great, and I think people can still talk to the compact even through that helpline, right? I think there's an option to get routed.
Absolutely. And we are in South Yarmouth. We're very accessible. I think we're one of the only entities that publishes our phone numbers and direct emails. So if you need to reach us, people know how to.
And I have a kind of oh, I'm sorry, Martin, did you raise your hand? No, okay. I have a kind of a follow-up question for the Cape Light Compact. The towns are looking at noise pollution, and I'm looking at an electric lawnmower because I'm not good with maintenance, and there's less maintenance. Is there still a rebate through Cape Light Compact? I threw you a tough one, huh?
No, I'm pretty sure that it is.
I think so
I
too.
am a little bit, I don't have all of my
Yeah.
things set up because of the power outage, but I will find that link and I will send it to you.
All
I
right.
know that my husband, who should know better, got a electric chainsaw rebate recently, and he was thrilled. And he was like, "I don't know that you do this." So it's just a testament that even if you live with the person who does this every day, that that there are things for you.
I
I will
think it,
find that though and send it
thank
your
you.
way.
I think it's
Absolutely.
going to become very popular with, oh, you're getting all kinds of parts here. With
Yeah.
the noise pollution issue at the town level is really coming to the top. So,
Yeah. Well, and there's a convenience factor, I think, too,
oh,
right? So you don't have to worry about the oil that's been sitting there, in the
an
garage.
old
And,
gas.
maybe it's
Yeah.
exactly. And so, I know for us at least, that was kind of a perk that at least my husband noted.
All right. Anybody else have a question for either Margaret? Yes.
Um, I
Katie.
just pulled up and put a link in the chat because we're putting it in our newsletter. So I knew I'd
Oh,
seen it
sweet.
recently. So, and
Very
it will
good.
be in the Climate Collaborative's newsletter as a little link um, in next week's newsletter. So I knew I had it to hand for Margaret. So there you go.
And I will copy it and get it on the ECCCI website too for gas lawn equipment, for electric lawn equipment.
Electric one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Okay. Seeing there's no more questions for Katie or for Margaret, let's move on to Michelle White from the Cape Cod Commission. Michelle,
Hi,
hi.
everyone. Michelle White, a Special Projects Coordinator with the Cape Cod Commission. I've got a few updates from some of our program managers. First, I'll start with that the Commission staff are continuing to follow state efforts related to consolidated local permitting for small clean energy infrastructure facilities. We'll be reaching out to town staff in the coming months to provide more information on that from the Department of Energy Resources. And we're currently looking at ways that we can assist towns with that process once that unrolls. So look to hear more about that at a later date. Another project we have is we are continuing to provide technical support to 5 towns, Brewster, Chatham, Falmouth, Orleans, and Truro, to help them achieve the Charging Smart designation. So this is a national recognition program. It's funded through the U.S. Department of Energy related to EV planning. So designation includes towns having things like a local EV first policy, updated permitting checklists and applications for charging infrastructure, among other things. So those communities should receive a bronze designation by the end of the year, which is super exciting, and we're happy to be working with them to do that. We also continue to support a project to provide EV car sharing at 5 preservation of affordable housing sites across Cape Cod, where residents and staff can rent electric vehicles at a reduced rate. And the charging infrastructure at those locations is also available to visitors there, not just those using the cars, which is great. The charging infrastructure for at those locations is expected to be installed this month, along with program outreach to residents and property managers of those locations. So
Can,
that program will be moving forward.
can you tell us what level and what port, what kind of charger it is?
I can, if you give me 1 second.
That's
So let's
become
see.
so important because if you don't have one of those,
Yeah, so we've got, and tell me if this answers your question, Liz.
yeah.
We've got one charge point charger with 2 ports and one volt post with 1 or 2 ports at each of the 5 locations.
Okay, so we don't know whether they're fast chargers or level two or
I don't see anything in my notes here about the level.
okay. I think that
Um,
for everybody, that's going to be part of the language for EVs is going to be the charging stations is, what level and what is your port going to take? So um so that
they are standardizing the ports though.
yeah,
So any new infrastructure and any new vehicles will have a standard port or an adaptable port. or vehicles are going to be required to include an adapter in the purchase or lease of the vehicle. And then there are some stations now, and I obviously don't know about the ones that are being installed, where it depends on the vehicle if they can do the fast charging. Otherwise, they sort of default to the level two. There are some in Hyannis here at the park and ride that when you plug in, you can option, if your battery's optimized, it can do fast charging.
Yeah, I got a Kia, and my port is the Tesla port. So,
Right.
and it's working fine, but it took me a long time.
But you should be able to get an adapter and be able to use any charger.
Actually, you'd have to get an adapter for all of the different chargers. So I have an adapter, but it only
It's
works.
only for one kind.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can get adapters, but each one is going to need a different, each charging station that's different needs a different adapter. So we're getting there, but
Yeah.
slow.
That's interesting because I have a VW that has multiple sections
Yeah.
built in,
Ah,
right?
okay. No,
So that's what it manufacturers now with the vehicles, especially if they're coming out of Europe, they have to standardize. So they'll have, three different shaped plugs that will take a plug. So
I've just got Tesla.
we'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Michelle. We've totally interrupted you.
That's okay. I just have one more update left to share, more for the climate action part and adaptation. We are working with Chatham, Harwich, and Orleans town staff and conservation commissions to help those boards draft local wetlands regulations that address development in the floodplain to protect coastal resources and increase coastal resiliency. So we're supporting those towns with their efforts to adopt those regulations and to draft them as it meets their local needs too. So those are the updates I have.
Again, thank you. Yes, Tom. You're muted. Tom, you're muted.
There we go. Who organizes and manages the car share?
Organizes and manages the car share. Let me pull my notes back up, Tom. So
if you don't, you could just send a link later, but I'd be very interested in how that works.
yeah, so that program is through a grant with Mass CEC to a company called Equal Energy Mobility. And they are working with Better Together, Brain Trust, and Zipcar will be the vehicle provider.
Oh, Zipcar. Okay. So Zipcar is handling the reservations and the.
Those programmatic elements I'm not familiar with, but I can find out for you. And
yeah, that'd be very
if you'd
interesting.
like, yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Michelle.
Yeah, thank
Anybody
you.
else have a question for Michelle, or for that matter, Katie or Margaret? They're both still here. Okay, I want to make a comment before we move on. I did invite CVEC, Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative, to give us an update, but they declined. They're in a process now that they're trying to assess how they will proceed as they go into their future. So they declined until they have made a decision on how they'll be going forward. And I thought it would be nice to hear from Steve Leuenberg to give us an update on how Martha's Vineyard is doing. Are you up to that, Steve?
I'll be glad to. I'm now the new chair of the Chilmark Energy and Climate Committee. We used to have just an energy committee and a climate committee, and the select board has decided to move them into one. And I'm the new chair of that, luckily or not. Anyway, our big news is that we're finally going to get our DC fast charger. It'll be the first one on the island. And it's taken us 3 years. We had a grant 3 years ago to put it in, but Eversource has found other ways to block it over time. They just don't want to put that much energy into us. But we have gotten over that and we are going to put it in.
I like that. Put that much energy into you, both figuratively and in reality. That's very
Yes.
well said.
It's been a problem all along because people who come here for vacations want to bring their electric cars, but it's just not. If you're on vacation, you don't want to be sitting at a level two charger for hours and hours to get your car charged. You want to have a DC fast charger. So that's something that we've been working very hard on. We're also trying in town to do with a microgrid for Chilmark in the town center, and we're having trouble getting people to understand what a microgrid is. We're looking for a different name for it that is less techy and sounds more like what we're actually doing, which is connecting all of the town buildings in the center of town, primarily for resilience purposes, and so that we can have batteries and electric and have uh, everything put together so that we were particularly concerned about what happened in the storm over the winter. That hit the island very, very hard. And so the issue of sustainability and climate change has become a big issue on the island. And we're working very hard now to try and make sure that people are safe in a storm like that, whether it be in the summer and based on a hurricane or whether it's the winter and based on something else. Um, so that's what we're working on, and we're an all volunteer committee. That's the way things work on Martha's Vineyard. Everybody pitches in and does his or her part. So that's what we're doing.
Thanks. That's great. Mike says, would it be fair to call it a backup grid instead of, and
Well,
Brian has an idea
we're
too.
trying to get away from the word grid.
There you go.
Grid just doesn't make it with people. I think backup resiliency or
Yeah.
backup. I don't know. We're still working on that.
Brian, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, Steve, we've been addressing that in Truro, and where Truro's long and narrow because we're on a peninsula, and we've got basically 5 different locations with town facilities along Route 6, and so we're calling those hubs, and each one of the hub is got some town buildings or whatever, and now we're upgrading them to become resilient hubs. And so that's the terminology that we found works well. And, it's either a hub or it's in a resilient hub. And so people are starting to understand that. We got a resiliency hub grant recently, MVP grant, a municipal vulnerability program grant to turn 2 of the hubs, the school and the community center and library, into resilient hubs, batteries, that type of stuff. So, it's working pretty well. We're kind of excited about that.
I'm going to write that down.
And I have a chat comment from Christine Boucher. How about Vineyard Integrated Network for Energy and the initial spell Vine? Vineyard Integrated Network for Energy. Very good, Christine.
Well, we have to use the word Chilmark in it because,
Ah,
as you probably know, us little vineyarders here are very town conscious. There are
town conscious.
six towns on the island. We try and talk to each other. Sometimes we don't do that very well.
Well, I don't think the Cape can claim that it does it any better. That's for sure. Try as we might. Thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment or have a question before we move on? Don't see any. All righty. Then that does finally bring us to Christine. Christine's been patiently waiting. Christine Boucher was hired by the town of Yarmouth to be our energy manager through a grant that we were given. And she's no longer going to be performing that task for Yarmouth, but she has a lot of understanding about what is needed. And so she wants to kind of update us on a possibility, a service that she might be able to provide that is very timely and is very needed from the town's perspective. So, Christine, unmute yourself and take it away.
Okay, so I first want to start off with a problem.
Can you get closer because it's hard to hear you?
Okay, can you hear me better?
Better.
Better. Okay, I feel like right up at my computer.
Yeah, eat the computer.
So I wanted to talk about an issue that you may not realize that you're having from the towns is that possibly your solar credits are building up on electric accounts without reducing the town's overall electric costs as efficiently as they could. One municipal account may be carrying accumulated net metering credits because it does not use enough electricity to absorb them, while another town account is still paying on electric bill every month. In that case, the town has value available, but it's not landing where it can do for the most good. So there is a new DPU rule 25117 that has been issued. It creates a one-time opportunity for towns to clean up some accumulated net metering credits and where they're allowed to move them to accounts that can actually use them. The utilities have indicated that this one-time courtesy transfer opportunity would run from July 1st to December 31st of this year. And my understanding is that this is not a permanent cash out program. It's better understood as a one-time cleanup window. But this gives towns a strategy to gain the largest economic value and identify where these credits have built up, determine whether these accounts can actually use the credits, and evaluate whether evaluate whether the credits should be moved to accounts with more immediate and measurable bill savings. So a high-load municipal account, such as a wastewater facility, water treatment plant, school, pump house, or any steady use account may be better placed to absorb credits than a smaller account with limited usage. But you should not simply move the credits to the biggest electric account. Your energy manager needs to compare monthly usage with applicable Eversource net metering credit value for that account. Rate class matters here, and those values are not fixed for the whole year. So you have G1, G2, G3, G4, and they change by month, so the applicable Eversource net metering credit schedule should be reviewed for the billing period being modeled. A G4 account may have a higher credit value in some months, but a G3 is not necessarily better than a G2. For G7 time of use accounts, the review is even more important because the Eversource schedule has separate peak and off-peak rows, and those values may or may not differ depending on the credit class. So the best receiving account is not always the largest account. It's the account where the credits can actually be used, where the timing matches monthly usage, and where the tariff value is the strongest for that period. So you need to model this before making allocation decisions. They should the town should review existing credit balances, monthly usage, account rate class, and the applicable monthly net metering credit rate. Then you can decide which account should receive more credits and which account should receive fewer credits during the allowed Schedule V change window. So the Schedule V is a mechanism that controls where net metering credits are assigned. And in most cases, towns have limited opportunities to change those allocations, often 2 times per year. That makes all the timing really important. If a town wants wait until credits have piled up for the months or years, it may not be able to correct the issue immediately. The work has to happen before the change window. And this is where I see DPU 25117 as more than a one-time transfer opportunity. It's a signal that towns need a more active process for managing their own credit stream. The transfer window can help clean up accumulated balances, but the longer-term value comes from preventing credits from accumulating in the wrong place. A practical process would include identifying all of your net metering credits, reviewing whether each account is using or accumulating credits, identifying the high load accounts that could absorb more credits, comparing the rate class, cost value, preparing Schedule D changes before the allowed window, and monitoring the results monthly or quarterly. This is another situation where your energy manager can create financial optimization. If credits are moved without checking usage and tariff value, the town could solve one problem, but miss a better savings opportunity. For towns building new wastewater treatment plants or infrastructure, that becomes especially important. If a new Eversource account has already been established for that infrastructure, that account may become a strong location for these DPU transfer credits, assuming it's eligible. The wastewater and water facilities often have steady electric demand, but the account should still be modeled first. Moving credits to a new account before it has sufficient usage may simply move the accumulation problem from one account to another. So the main takeaway is the value of your municipal solar credit is not automatic. It depends on whether someone is watching where those credits go, whether the accounts can absorb them, and whether the tariff value supports the allocation. The DPU opportunity also gives towns a chance to take control of this work. This is the kind of task that can add significant value to an internal municipal energy role because it connects utility bills, solar production, account usage, finance, and long-term cost savings. For towns considering whether to create or expand an energy position, this is a concrete example of where that role can directly protect dollars. And I know some of us are having
Feeling the pinch?
feeling the pinch by having to go through the overrides, and then also trying to get energy managers into the positions of these towns.
Can I ask you a question, Christine?
Sure.
So if a town doesn't have an energy manager, is there not, how do they get on top of this? Because it's,
So I see it as they have two paths. The one is to either train somebody within, as the energy manager, train the energy manager. You can train finance staff or a municipal staff person to manage this internally. But remember, they would need to understand electric accounts, the net metering balances, usage patterns, Schedule D timing, Eversource rate classes, and monthly tariff changes. The other option is to bring in somebody from the outside to support a review of the usage, identify the accumulated credit risk, model which accounts should receive credits, compare tariff values, prepare the Schedule Z recommendations, and help staff build a repeatable monitoring process for them. Once it's understood, once the models are created, once a lot of this work can be put in internally, and I also had the idea of like where you could put it into ArcGIS, so the process is automatic. The new information comes in, it's put into the model. ArcGIS is very visually applicable to
here we go again.
Work is done. So there's really two avenues, but it gives the towns a chance to clean up their credits, but it's a bigger opportunity.
All right. So is anybody here interested in this issue? Is there anybody who feels that they may have at their town some stranding of credits or some need to rearrange? Pat?
Yeah, I think we do in Truro. but it sounds to me like you're talking about like almost a credit amnesty program for the next 6 months.
No, no,
No.
it's a way to look at what you have. They're going to give you one time to transfer bulk credits. So, and it's just a one time thing because a lot of towns are having this issue where they have accumulated credits in an account but can't transfer them.
Oh, they're like stranded in an account.
Yeah, they're stranded.
Okay,
So this gives the opportunity to look at it holistically,
I gotcha.
model it, put it where it should go. And but not just where it should go, like if you don't understand the value of them,
Yeah.
you're going to put them in something that may have lower value than higher value. And it'll also
Sure.
give you a pathway to change those you can change them twice a year. So
How do we find out about that program more?
so I can put in the link what the DPU sent out. But regarding, so I have the ability to do that with some visibility from the town as a consultant, but it's really up to how the town wants to proceed. Is there somebody within your town that has knowledge of all of this and is tracking it and just got into um, a pickle with putting them in the wrong place, or who allocated them in the first place? It's really how the town wants to move forward.
Could I have our energy manager contact you?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
and John, you have a question. Go ahead, John Londa. And John, are you from Orleans? I've forgotten. I beg your
Yeah,
pardon.
I'm the chair of the Orleans committee, and what I was going to say is that we were seeing this problem about a year ago with a number of accounts that we had. We at that point we had an energy manager. She was working through the issue, was putting together the Schedule Z changes we need to have made for that. I'm glad to hear about this one-time transfer opportunity because we had that problem. And while we may have fixed where new credits are going, we probably have some credits stranded as well. But and then beyond that, it's we're looking at what mechanism we use to get an energy manager back on board. We were in a program where we were sharing it with a number of towns, and that program kind of died, I think, in March or April.
Right. Carol.
I think Wellfleet might be interested in this. We've been trying to explore what happens to the credits for our landfill for about a year now, and I think we really don't still have a handle on it. So it sounds like this might be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else want to put in their 2 cents? The net metering credit value is not determined, but we can figure it's about 0.005 against your 2 cents. That was very funny for those of us who know what net metering credits are. All right. Christine, I think she's being modest, but she is very good with spreadsheets, which is what this takes. And so she put her Gmail email in chat. And I guess if anybody wants to reach out to her, they are free to do so. And with that, thanks, Christine. And I think that pretty much brings us up to where we would like to hear from any of the towns themselves. Want to make any comments on? We gave Steve Lowenberg the floor, and he's got us all filled in on Mark. But anybody else got anything they'd like to bring forward as something that's been accomplished at a local level? John.
Yeah, so just I have a couple things I wanted to really touch on the discussion on the EV charger. We have a lot of chargers that we have planned to put in, and they are all moving forward at a glacial pace. So we have like a level 3 charger that we just put in the town center in Orleans. It's there. It's just not energized. And hoping that
how
will.
often we hear this problem.
Yeah, we have a pipe or electrical conduits in place for level 2 chargers for Nauset Beach. Figure we got people want to come to the beach. Great place to park your SUV, your EV, and get it charged up while you're sitting on the beach. But it has taken us about 2 years to get this to happen. It is glacial pace.
Steve Lewinberg, does that sound familiar?
Absolutely. And it's all, we spent a year and a half because Eversource says we can't get the transformer that we need for the DC fast charger. They just aren't available. That was a year and a half.
Sorry, John.
So we're expecting to try to have these available this summer for people coming to the town of Orleans. Second issue is last May we had an appropriation of $5 million for solar projects, which the town was just tired of waiting for CVEC. And so we went out with an RFP. We have 3 projects that are moving forward. Hopefully they move forward faster than the EV chargers. But we have 3 projects going forward for the Department of Public Works roof, for our municipal water plant, and we have a unfortunately undersized project going in for our wastewater treatment plant. So I think we'll be coming back to that at a later date because it's just not big enough.
I could note, without stealing your thunder, John, that Yarmouth is also issuing its own RFP for a solar project for a PPA arrangement for the DPW building. And we're not going through CVEC because it's a little less expensive if you don't go through CVEC.
Yeah, it's unfortunate CVEC is not here because I understand that going through the strategic review, I don't know who they're talking to, but they haven't reached out. At least I have not gotten anything from them. So, as far as I know, while we have a representative to CVEC, I'm not sure what, if they're thinking about what kind of changes they need to make to become more relevant.
That's good.
And then I got one last thing, which is we are working on with our select board, a municipal construction policy. So we're working through that on staff, where we come out of that. Last fall, we did not pass the specialized energy code. So we are looking at that. Nonetheless, we did appropriate money for a fire station in May that will be net zero. So we're kind of moving in that direction, but we're trying to get nailed down what things we need to put into policy with respect to municipal construction, both for our infrastructure as well as things that the town will affordable housing projects the town will partner with developers on.
Christine, what you got?
I was going to say I put the DPU report in the chat. And then this is for John. I actually just have a question regarding in Orleans and the charging. I know that the Toyota dealership has a fast charger and a slow charger right there on site. And I know it's in ChargePoint as being like available, but they put a lot of their cars in front of their chargers. And I just didn't this has been going on for like years. And I'm just wondering if there's a way for like Orleans to help. Maybe, they have it in terms of like you're able to use it and the cost is there so that people are charged for it. But, for this summer, it's a really good opportunity to have vacationers use that. And I don't know why they keep putting their cars in front of it so nobody can use it.
I think I know why. It's expensive for the dealership because they're being charged for every kilowatt hour that these chargers are delivering, and unless somebody else wants to compensate them, like the town of Orleans for some of it, they don't want to make it a freebie.
Well, it's not free. It's a $5 session fee, and then
okay,
and then 54 cents per kilowatt hour.
Oh, okay.
So it's not free. It's
okay.
Yeah.
there.
I think what we're putting in will ultimately be significantly cheaper
Yeah.
for use, but we're putting it in the downtown area near our existing level 2 charger, and that's two different two chargers, so they're both level 3 though, and
2 ports.
then 7 dual port chargers for Nauset Beach and across from Town Hall. So we're going to add substantial amount, and Cape Cod 5 Bank, which finished a renovation, add 4 level 2 chargers too.
So this goes back to what Michelle White at the Cape Cod Commission was talking about, right? This is the Charging Smart Designation Award because
The
of all
Charging
this?
Smart program, to my knowledge, has more to do with planning. So it's allowing for like citing of policies, local municipal policies related to EV fleet conversion and such, not actual installations or bringing the electrification to those.
Okay, thanks. Well, who else from a town would like to make a comment or two? I know it's beautiful outside, so if we don't have to linger, Colin, I was wondering how people are now accepting of the Brewster solar canopies at the golf course, because I know that was a tough one at one point.
You
But
mean, do we like them?
Colin, are you muted?
The town, there's no problem, and the golfers love to park under
There you go.
them. After we lost 25% of the capacity because of 4 trees, it was an issue.
Yeah, that was an interesting compromise.
And they didn't want to hear that putting the solar canopies in was like planting 240,000 trees.
Yeah.
But
Equivalency, yeah.
yeah, it pays for our energy manager.
Mm-hmm.
It pays for a lot of the town administration sunk costs, plus, the golf fund gets a good chunk of money every year from it. So people are happy with it.
Excellent.
There were problems with the last vendor on the other buildings in town, and that's why nothing ever happened.
Mm.
The one thing I have, if anybody on this call has got anybody in their realm of contacts that lives in Brewster and is interested either in environment or in energy, our 7-member committee has 3 vacancies.
Ooh.
So with one person out, we can't do business.
Well, my sister lives in Brewster, so I'll be making a phone call.
So that
I have a meeting. I have to go to a meeting.
we had one new member come on and stayed less than a year because he was overwhelmed because of the technical stuff.
Mm.
We did make one good move recently, and there's a new maintenance facility going in for the captains for all the equipment maintenance.
Mm.
And it's not going to be completely electric. It's going to be a hybrid, but one thing that is going to happen is, and one of the reasons is the best way to heat the maintenance facility part of it is with radiant floor.
Mm.
And an electric radiant floor isn't the best thing in the world.
No.
But the balance of the hydronic system, if anyone runs into this, is you want to make sure they size any radiators or hot water heating coils to be able to supply the load at 120 degrees.
Mhm.
That way, you can use an air to water heat pump in the future when it comes time to replace the the high efficiency gas boiler.
Hmm.
But there is some debate in the decarbonization world at the present time with what the grid composition is for generation. If you have primarily a heating load that you can get 95% heating equipment burning natural gas, that's actually more carbon friendly than the grid is right now.
Oh, no, that's not what we want to hear.
No, but it is.
Yeah,
And EPA even admits this.
yeah. All right.
So that's why presently, and until you get to a renewable or N-word grid, um, selective, well done gas use
Mhm.
doesn't hurt decarbonization.
Thanks, Colin. All right. All right, we got David and Steve. I'm not sure whose hand shot up first. Forgive me. David, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. I okay, yeah. I just want to mention a few things that are happening in Falmouth, and I see that Eleanor Ling is on the call too, so she may want to talk about some of this stuff. But as you may know, we have a sustainability specialist in the town of Falmouth, and she does a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Really capable person, and she puts out a an update every month. And I just one of the highlight items for this month or May was $5 million Green School Works Award advances clean energy planning for Falmouth schools.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was a lot of money that could be good to put to good use. And she covers a lot of other stuff. They put in 6 level 2 chargers at the depot. There's a parking lot there, which you can stay at for a long time. So level 2 is fine there. And there's other improvements that were made to, let's see, East Falmouth Fire Station energy upgrades, and so on. But and Stephanie appears at our energy committee meetings, which I'm a member of, and as is Eleanor, and she also appears at our Falmouth Climate Action Network meetings. And as far as the energy committee goes, she's always urging us to work on the residential side because she handles the municipal side in the schools very well. There's, much little that we can do as a committee that she isn't already looking into and with more competence and greater detail. So we might want to focus more on the residential side. So we have a couple of events scheduled. The energy committee does that are coming up. We have what we call a solar tour,
Oh, yeah.
which people have, communities have, and I think we probably should have called it a sustainable home tour. It's not a real tour because we're just starting out with one home, but it's got a lot of stuff in it, and we're inviting a limited number of people to show up. But I'm sure we'll do that more, and we have in the past participated in other solar tours. And we're also going to do an electric vehicle event where people bring their electric vehicles, and we talk about that. But there's another effort that we've made recently, and maybe Eleanor wants to get on and talk about this because she's had a lot of involvement in it and some letters that we've addressed. Eleanor, are you there? Eleanor? Yeah.
Yes, I have to unmute. Yes.
You want to talk about those 2 letters?
Oh, sure. I can briefly update people. Yes, the Energy Committee is working on a letter to send to the Senate Committee of Ways and Means because we would like to voice our opposition to the 1 billion cuts from MassSave. And since we are a town committee, the Energy Committee is a town committee, we decided that we will ask the select board to send a letter to our state senator, Dylan Fernandez instead of us sending the letter directly to the Senate Committee on Ways and Means. And we're also working on similar letter opposing the 1 billion Mass Save funding cut at the Falmouth Climate Action Network. That letter will be sent directly to the Senate Committee on Ways and Means. And we also will, send it to Senator Fernandez. And we should have that letter out, in the next couple days. And we heard that, well, at least I heard from various sources, reliable sources, that the Senate bill will not cut Mass Save. So we still have some time, even though, we have some confidence that Senate will not cut Mass Save in their bill, but, they still have to negotiate with the House on some compromise during the conference committee. So we're working on those, and I'm sure that's, some of you or most of you already read some report that Senator Barrett publicly said that, the Senate will not cut Mass Save. But like I said before, they have to, negotiate with the House during the conference committee process.
Thank you, Eleanor.
Oh, yes.
Thanks. Okay. Steve, thank you for waiting. Sorry, it was a little slow.
You're welcome, no problem. First, Colin, just want to let you know that while you were talking, I did text some friends in Brewster, and hopefully you'll hear from them, or I'll hear from them, and then I'll tell them how to get in touch with you. Here in Wellfleet, we can see the finish line of the climate leader application going in at the end of this month. As long as we can get the select board on the 16th to approve our decarbonization plan. We've gotten everything else done, and as long as we can get all of our ducks in a row, we'll be able to apply for the Climate Leader program by the end of the month.
Wow. That's fantastic.
Well, we felt we had a lot of pressure with both Eastham and Truro having done it, so we're like, we
Very
gotta get on board with
good.
this.
That's awesome. Okay. I see Sakiko is giving you a big round of applause. Anything else, Steve, or should I?
I don't know. Carol, Patty, do you have anything else you'd like to add to that?
I guess if anybody has any advice when you're at the very end, getting letters together and things, people who have done it, anything to tell us in this last round?
I can't add anything other than it's so close. I think it's just a matter of keep pushing.
Were you able to get did you get your data squared away from MEI? That held us up at the last minute.
Mm. And MEI, for everybody, Massachusetts Energy Insight, which is a fantastic tool, but it needs maintenance.
We're working with Lisa Sullivan of the DOER, so I think we've got our data ready to go. But we'll definitely make sure to ask her if there's anything we're missing.
All right. And I guess, Tom, I owe you an apology because when I jumped to you came on, I said, oh, it's Tom from Provincetown.
No,
Tom from Eastham. Forgive me.
Thanks. No, I will mention that we did get Climate Leader this round. And so if anyone's interested, and we've been talking with Steve on how we've gotten through the process, I am happy to share some insights there. It did take about a year because you got to get the decarb roadmap in place, but you can get a grant for that, and you got to get the zero EV policy, the zero emissions vehicle policy in place. Mm-hmm. But it is doable, and the sooner you go, from what we understand, the better the chance you have on the big $1 million prize,
the money,
which is the accelerator grant, right? Mm-hmm. And we also thrilled that our select board voted to unanimously adopt our climate action plan on May 18th. So we're really thrilled about that. And still a lot of work ahead in terms of trying to figure out what to do with 85 different recommendations. So we're thrilled, and Michelle played a big part of that, Michelle White. So thank you, Michelle. And we're really grateful for the Cape Cod Commission for guiding us through that. The professionalism getting us through that was awesome. And the idea was to create something that could be used as a model for other towns. So please, if you're interested, reach out to the Cape Cod Commission. I think there's some awesome learning that we all did through this process, but the commission just did an amazing job in outreach. So we're thrilled. Thank you.
Very good. Yes. Hey, I think that's all of our hands are now down, and it's 5:37, and I'd have one last bit of business. The next fall meeting could be either November 5th or November 12th. I prefer November 5th. What about anybody? There's a big head shake from Michelle, from Cape Cod Commission, Pat. Yep. Okay. It will be November 5th at 2026 and at 4:30, and I'll get it on the website along with the all the stuff we talked about and the recording. So with that, thank you all for coming. It was a good turnout. Sakiko, I think you're the only person I'm not sure where you are from. Hi.
I'm from Martha's Vineyard Commission. Hello.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, that's right. Oh,
Yeah, sorry, I
that's
had a
right.
meeting earlier, so I
Well,
couldn't attend.
is there anything that you want to add at this stage of the game?
I don't think so. I just recently took a workshop on bidirectional EV charging pilot. Yeah, so looking at that.
Okay. Well,
potential.
do I have you in my emails? Did you get an email?
I think I do. I don't know. I might have gotten it through my predecessor, Liz's
That's what
email.
I'm thinking, because I don't think your name is on.
Warner's email. Yeah.
Would you do me a favor and put your email in the chat?
Of course.
That way
Thanks.
I can make sure that you get the notices. If anybody else didn't get a notice, please put your email in the chat. And I want to say a big thank you to Margaret, who took all this time to be with us when she's, has taking on a big project there at Cape Light Compact, but she's the right person for it. So fantastic. And thank you all. Christine's email is in there if you need help with your net metering credit review so that you can take advantage of the DPU opportunity in July. She's available. And I think that's about it. So thank you all, and see you in November. Okay.
Thank you, Liz.
And no problem. Time to
Thanks, Liz.
Sure enough. Bye-bye. Stop.